Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and non binaries. Welcome back to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Barbara, and this morning we're taking a look at one of the deadliest characters in DC Legends. A paragon of power, the literal maiden of might herself, Supergirl, the last daughter of Krypton. Now, Supergirl is actually my highest ranking character, so there's a little bit of skewification in that statement, but there is nothing to sneeze at, but she is nonetheless nothing to sneeze at. This is her legendary appearance. Her default appearance has her wearing the skirt in kind of a more traditional Supergirl costume. She is a energy-based character who specializes in supporting her team by basically completely ignoring taunt. As I said in the pilot episode, I'll be talking about status conditions as I mention them with these characters. Taunt redirects attacks towards a taunting target, meaning protecting another target that might not want to take a hit. Because of how Supergirl's attacks work, she is functionally immune to being taunted. Let's take a look and see what I mean. Well, actually first, let's quickly talk about stats, because Supergirl's our inaugural character after all. As you can see, these are how the stats work. The plus values are related to her gear, which require certain materials that you would have to find in order to power them up. And indeed, they are all references to various things, which is always very, very cool. Keep an eye out to see what kind of cool references you can find with your characters when you take a look at their gear. Now let's have a quick peek at those superpowers, shall we? Now, keep in mind that some of these are legendary, which means that they have been buffed by becoming a legendary hero and getting a legendary star, and thus applying a legendary focus. I'm using that word a lot, but it's pretty much what they're called. By using these, you can buff attacks with unique properties that really jack them up. So, for instance, Heat Vision and all effects will be marked in gold. Heat Vision Sweep deals damage and applies 3 crit damage downs to all enemies. And every upgrade is a boost to the attack's damage. Now, that's her basic attack. This is the attack she will always be able to use, whether she is silenced, which means that she does not have access to anything beyond her basic attack, whether she is enraged, meaning she will use her basic attack on her turn without you being able to control her, or in any instance where she is forced to just use her Heat Vision Sweep, say when her other skills are on a cooldown. But unlike most characters, well, a little bit of an elaboration. She is also functionally immune to Enrage, but unlike Taunt, this is more of a maybe. For you see, yeah, she still suffers the effects of Enrage and attacks things, but when she attacks things, she hits everyone. So even if normally Enrage would make you attack a random target, well, Supergirl hits all the targets with her Heat Vision Sweep, so good luck with that. Next is Strength of Hope, which applies, I should probably make a mention of when things start. 1, -1, -1. Okay, so normally with this ability, -2, -4, 6, 8, 10. Normally when you get access to this superpower, oh, by the way, I completely forgot to mention this. Supergirl is a 3-star unlock. She requires 50 shards to unlock. And that means she will have access to all of her main attacks and a slight power boost off-rip. But Strength of Hope will, at the start, apply 2 affinity resistance ups for all allies and 25% turn meter up for all allies. But as you can see, with each upgrade, affinity resistance numbers go up, and turn meter increases go up too. Turn meter is what you use to dictate your turns, so effectively you're giving your characters a chance to steal their turn from others. A speed boost, if you will. And affinity resistance just means that if an opponent of, if, let's say Supergirl has affinity resistance up, and she's being attacked by a magical character. That magical character, or that physical, it's physical, sorry, I keep forgetting, because red beats blue, blue beats green, green beats red. So, if a physical character like Black Canary were to try to attack Supergirl with affinity resistance ups, those affinity resistance ups cause those attacks to deal less damage. It doesn't affect neutral or super effective hits, but it's still handy if you have a character that has an AoE, a team attack that is something Supergirl resists, like Black Canary. I have maximally... Oh, and the legendary upgrade is Better Angels. Sadly, I can't get the names for the other two, but for the ones that I do have, but that's okay. What this does is that any random ally will get death immunity, meaning that they can take damage, but they can't be brought down to 0 HP, giving them a fighting chance on their turn to heal or land a devastating attack. Boulder Slam. Oh, the legendary benefit for Heat Vision Sweep. But, man, I need to get the formatting down. Sorry, folks. Can you tell this is a new series and I'm a little bit rusty? If you put a legendary focus on Heat Vision Sweep, any enemy that has 1 or more critical damage down and survives the first Heat Vision Sweep, well, it's a little complicated, but effectively, this move will go twice if there's a crit damage down anywhere on the enemy side of the field. But there's 2 caveats that I've learned via Discovery. 1, your primary target, meaning the opponent that you tap, despite it being an AoE attack, the one that you tap has to survive the first attack. And any survivors need to have the crit damage down. So, if you attack someone and kill 3 allies, but they didn't have crit damage down before, the double sweep doesn't work. It sounds situational, but it happens more often than I care to admit, usually via a mistap or a surprise crit that suddenly does a metric crap ton of damage that I didn't want it to. Speaking of crit damage downs, Boulder Slam, when a legendary focus is slapped on it, will apply 7 critical damage downs to everyone. And otherwise it just deals damage to all enemies. However, if an ally is below half health, meaning they have yellow or red health, Supergirl, or the Boulder Slam attack, will effectively deal double damage. Well, not just effectively, it will. So, if you are rocking a non-legendary Supergirl, this is a great way to turn the tide if one of your allies is hurting. Next up is one of Supergirl's 2 passive abilities. Most characters tend to have 3 attacks and 2 passives. However, some characters have only 1 passive, and some characters even have 4 attacks and a single passive. But the general rule of thumb is expect a character to have 3 attacks, 2 passives. Her 4-star passive is Save the Day. Every time an ally receives damage, Supergirl has a certain chance to gain 3 stamina ups. 65, 60... 57, 54, 52, 50. So it starts at 50% and then goes up to 80%. Stamina ups effectively increase maximum health, increase the health pool of a character. So instead of taking less damage, you soak more damage by having more health without healing. It would be like if you had a Pokemon that had 200 hit points, and then with a stamina up, it had a maximum hit pool of 250 hit points. That went back down to 200 after it loses that buff. It's a weird thing, but a lot of DC Legends stuff tends to be weird. The legendary upgrade: if an ally receives critical damage, use Strength of Hope. Which means, with Strength of Hope, remember, turn meter up, affinity resistance ups, and if it's legendary, death immunity on a random ally. Handy if they're suddenly being targeted. And finally, House of L. This is a passive ability. Supergirl does not have a team leader ability. Usually, any character that has a team leader ability, it is their final passive, which means you have to put them in the leader slot of your team. Supergirl can function pretty much anywhere, which is good. As a passive ability, yes, I know I need to charge my phone. All enemies, it'll start with 25%, and it'll steadily increase as time goes on up to 40% less critical damage. Just outright. Just by having Supergirl on the field, your allies are taking less damage from critical hits that could potentially kill them. She's protecting them from crits and from stray affinity-based hits while dealing massive damage across the entire party by spread. And when you upgrade this legendarily, at the start of each ally turn, 70% chance to grant them 1 agility up, which is effectively a defense boost, meaning they take even less damage. Supergirl is effectively a speedy supporter who reliably allows her allies to take hits, and when she gets a chance to attack, it is lights out. And to demonstrate this principle, we're going to take her into a fight. However, for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to turn the sound off, just because they're loud, and you guys will probably get annoyed in a real fucking hurry. So, just because, we're going to start a red alert for this one, because I need to do my red alerts anyways. And we're going to pick on this team. You will also be able to preview, as you can see, several other characters in the game, but I will not tell you what they are doing. You have to figure out what they're doing from there. We're focusing as much as possible on Supergirl in order to show off what she does. She's right at the front here so that you can see. The first order of business is to do Strength of Hope. By tapping and holding an attack, you can see what it does in case you forgot. And you can see, by switching back and forth, you can see where the arrows come in. Green arrows mean that the attack will do extra damage. Gray arrows are neutral, and red arrows mean it's bad. But you can also see that applies to everyone, whereas, as you'll see with certain characters, targeted attacks will come in. So you can see you have all those, and we're going to hit... Oh, wait, that's what the arrows all go away. So you can see the arrows are now gray with Black Canary because she's the same type as these guys. So it'll be go time. I know I'm kind of spoiling certain characters, but I kind of have no choice because I have to play them on a team. So we're going to speed through. You can speed through by tapping this order up here. You can also hit auto battle, but I really only recommend using auto battle for if your team is fighting raid bosses. Otherwise, don't do this. We're just going to kind of focus on getting everything done as quickly as possible. Everybody's enraged. Everybody's going to go attack Harley. So here comes Heat Vision. See how it hits everyone for huge damage. But it doesn't go twice because the primary target was Harley, and Harley died. And now this is where things are going to get really dicey because I just realized that Mara is almost dead already. I passed the heals off on the wrong target. But now, note the crits ups, and now I have control of Supergirl. So we're going to laser sweep on Deathstroke, and there we go. It hits twice. We're just going to focus down. We're just going to kind of try and focus down and get things finished. Okay, so a little bit of healing, but not inspired confidence here. Mara's still alive, but remember, Mara is way past half health, so now we get to use Boulder Slam, which means that this attack gets to do double damage. 7,800 damage on Deathstroke. And unfortunately, I can't heal with... Yeah, I can't heal with Star Sapphire this turn. But thankfully, we got Deathstroke down. And hopefully next turn, I'll be able to heal with Star Sapphire so that I can save Mara. because otherwise I'm going to lose one of my best healers, and that is going to be a problem. But that is Supergirl in a nutshell, and you get to see how battles work. Lots of those are going to be kicking in throughout this series, and that just about does it. If you guys see Supergirl, I guess there's a bit of a rating system here, but not really. But if you guys have a chance to gun for Supergirl, save for spending real money, please don't do that. But if you have a chance in like a challenge, or with free spin the wheels, or if you've saved up enough crystals and she cycles back into the shop, get her as soon as possible. Even just getting her to 5 stars makes her incredible. Just from the support bases alone of boosting team meter and being immune to taunt and functionally immune to, or I guess semi-immune to enrage. However, if you do happen to get her legendary, and you're gunning for those 10 stars, which, God help you, seriously, but if you're gunning for that 10-star Supergirl, and you want to know what order to throw your legendary stars in, I recommend it in this order. Heat Vision Sweep must go first. Absolutely must. The chance to attack twice, to attack every enemy on the field twice with Heat Vision Sweep, functionally every turn, because once crit damage downs are a thing, then it becomes absolutely nutty. Go for it, because this way you're hitting the entire team twice for big damage. You saw how much damage the double sweep does. Then it's kind of up to personal preference, honestly. Do you want to protect your allies and give them a countering chance? Save the day might be for you. Boulder Slam with the extra critical damage downs to every teammate. 7 crit damage downs is nothing to sneeze at, people. Especially when that is paired up with the Heat Vision Sweep up top. Strength of Hope, applying death immunity is never a bad thing. The only thing is that you can't really control where it's going, but at the same time, death immunity's death immunity, especially if it lasts long enough. And House of L, a chance to boost defense, it's not great. I would probably save this one for last, but hey, pick your poison for the middle 3. But I recommend this first, this last, and then pick your poison for the other 3. That's going to do it for Supergirl. Next time, we're going to take a look at the Army of One herself, Batwoman. Don't forget to be awesome, my friends, and we'll see you guys on the other side.